Vinyl box sets are bulky, they're expensive, they probably don't get played as often as they should, but they sure are fun to collect. I'm going to walk you through a number of my favorites on this episode of Talking About Records. My name is G.I. Sanders from NTX Vinyl, a small chain of independent record shops in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. If you're not local, but you are in the United States, you can shop online at ntxvinyl.com and would really appreciate if you subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. All right, I've got over 50 box sets in my collection. It has taken me a number of years to accumulate those. Like I mentioned, if I've got a box set of an artist, there's a pretty good chance it's one of my favorite artists because I don't collect box sets of just anyone. They're too expensive and take up too much space, right? So I'm going to walk you through just a couple of my favorites. I'm going to unbox them in detail. Hope you enjoy on this episode Talking About Records. All right, the first box set on my list when I was going through trying to pick out some of my favorites is from the Grateful Dead, one of my absolute favorite artists, one of, in my opinion, the greatest American rock bands of all time. This is the 2020 Vinyl Me Please anthology, the story of the Grateful Dead. These are numbered. I'm going to try and show it here. This is number 1,559 of 2,500. You're not going to be able to see that, but it is hand numbered on the back there. It's a really heavy duty set. It is 8 LPs. I'm going to take it out so I can handle the box itself because one of the most impressive things, in my opinion, is the artwork. So you've got some just really great Dead artwork front and back. It's hard to see, but it's actually printed inside the box, which is really cool, kind of the flower skull and roses pattern. So the box is amazing. Like I mentioned, super heavy duty and a nice matte finish and some really custom artwork. So as you can see, it slides out. You've got a Dead themed double-sided slip mat, which is really nice. And then you've got a couple of extras before we get into the LPs. So Vinyl Me Please is a record club. This was not part of the subscription. They're box sets you can buy regardless if you're a part of the club or not. You get a discount if you are a part of the club, but this comes with a description of what the box set includes and kind of the story behind it. It also comes with an accompanying podcast, so you can scan these QR codes and you get, it looks like 4 different episodes of a podcast where you can check out, again, more of the backstory. And then you've got a really beautiful booklet. Box sets are so much eye candy as much as they are about music, and this one is no different. So you've got it looks like about a 20-page book containing really great story about the Dead, tons of photography, and then obviously specifics on each of the albums. So again, these are all about deep dives to me. That's the box set. So it's about, taking a closer look at specific albums or artists and really getting in depth. That's what I love about them, right? So, all right, I mentioned this is 8 LPs. This is kind of a subset of the Dead. Obviously, they have a much broader discography than 8 albums. I'm going to walk you through the cool thing about all of these is they are on colored vinyl. So you've got a really interesting array of colors. This is Working Man's Dead, and you can see it's kind of on like an opaque purple. You have got American Beauty, very, very nice red. Go through these one at a time and actually show you all of the colors. This is Live Dead on orange, and I think it's on an alternate color on the pink. See what else we got here. We've got Wake of the Flood. This one is on a nice kind of Coke bottle clear. You've got Terrapin Station. I believe this is a green, yeah, dark opaque green. Just a beautiful selection of colors. You've got my personal favorite Dead album, if I had to name one, and that is Europe 72. This one is all on translucent colors. This one's, you've got orange, you've got the blue, and you've got the green. Just an absolute great package. I love the color choices they made. They're pretty unique, I think. A couple of them. And then you've got the triple gatefold on Europe 72. You have got Reckoning, which is, I said Europe 72 is my favorite Dead album, but this one might be right up there. This is the Dead all stripped down in acoustic on, again, a couple of translucent colors. All of these are true to the original artwork, which is really nice. And then lastly, you've got kind of the gem of this collection, I think, and that is Without a Net, because this one is not repressed and really hard to come by on its own. This is another triple LP on multiple colors. And the great part about this box set is the sound is fantastic. Looking on here to see if it says, I'm sure it was probably a Bernie Grundman remastered if I had to guess. I didn't look at the specifics, but yeah, these are, let's see, quality record pressings, A to Z Media. See if I can get a mastering notes. I'm not seeing offhand, but it's in here. And again, the quality on this entire box set is just superb. There, it also comes with some stickers, and then and additionally the Vinyl Me Please anthology. So it's a great set. This was, like I said, it was limited to 2,500, so not a lot of these out there. You got the tie-dyed inner box, and you know, again, this is a pretty thick box set. So one of my favorites, not only for the visual, but for the color choices and for the albums they chose. This is for me, the meat of the Dead. This is when they were truly at their best, and just doing some really creative work. So love the Dead box set. And there's a lot of Vinyl Me Please anthology box sets. I think they've done maybe 10 of them or so. This is the only one. And I've got maybe one other. I have a Woodstock anthology, which is really cool. That didn't make the cut on this list, but that's the first one on my list, is the Dead VMP anthology. An absolute great box set if you ever have the chance to pick one up. Like I mentioned, if I'm going to own a box set, it's probably going to be from one of my favorite artists. And if you've watched any videos by me, you know that Pearl Jam is one of my favorites. So next on the list is the Super Deluxe version of the debut album 10. This is going to take a while to get through this one because there's a lot to it. This came out in 2019. It's a 3 LP, 2 CD, DVD, and cassette. I have so much love for this. It's probably one of my first box sets. I think I may have had a Beatles box set before this one, but this one holds a special place for me. As you can see, it's kind of the archival 90 through 92. It's got a mini version of what is actually the original artwork, and then I'll walk you through the rest. I'll talk to you more about that, but let's look at the contents first, then we'll dive into the specifics. So as far as the records are concerned, you've got a couple LPs here. First and foremost, you have the original LP, the original mix, and just remaster. Now, the first question you're probably asking is, why is it kind of a brown or beige color? If you talk to Jeff Ament, or you look at interviews from Jeff Ament, this was how it was supposed to look. Apparently, when Epic pressed the first record, it was way more red and pink, which is obviously the what you know as the iconic album. In fact, if I grab the album, wherever it may be, just so you can compare, here is an original pressing, and obviously it's very, very different. So it's interesting to me, and really cool to have what was the original vision. I don't know if they intended it to be this kind of beige versus the red, but this is the way they printed it for the Super Deluxe. So really cool. Again, this is just a remastered version of the original, same mix, so very true to what you know as the version of 10. Then what you have is a complete remix and remaster. So this is important because Brendan O'Brien, who's their longtime producer, they've worked with a number of producers, but he is the one they've worked with the most, went back in 2009 and not only remastered, but also remixed. And that's important because what that means is he went into the original tapes and actually changed things. So it's good and bad, right? There's a lot of people who say, no, don't ever touch it, leave it how it is. But for an album like this, the band actually had some things that they disliked. The original mix had a little more reverb, or maybe a lot more reverb than they liked after they listened back to it years after. So they went back and corrected those things. So it's a much cleaner, crisper mix, in my opinion, and I think it's superior. Actually, I actually like the 2009 remix better than the original, which is saying something. Obviously, you want to have both. You want to have that original, but I love what they did on the remix. Sometimes bands get too far into the remix and mess things up, but I think it stays true to form and actually just cleans it up nicely. So I love that remix. So you've got two different versions of the core album. Then you have got an absolutely iconic performance, Drop in the Park, from September 20th, 1992. Opening bands were Cypress Hill and Seaweed. This was an iconic show, and one of those Pearl Jam shows that is kind of a place in time for their fan base, because they had blown up and they tried to do a hometown show and it was just too big and it got pushed back. They ended up pulling it off. It was a free show, I believe, in Seattle, and there's a lot of footage of this. You can go to YouTube and check out the majority of the footage from this show. It's essentially the entire 10-track list front to back. They didn't have any more songs at that point. This is early stages. Again, September of 92, so the band had just broke. This is a great live set, incredible sound, and just really shows off how raw and energetic their early live performances were. All right, so now you got the interior box. Again, the exterior shell is plain black for the most part, except for the spine there, and again the little mini artwork. Then you've got the interior box, and this is where it gets interesting, because there is a ton. I love the kind of embossed PJ on this, and you've got 10 on the side, and then it's a fold out really nice package, right? So first and foremost, we'll work our way through these. I'm going to go through the media first. So I mentioned this contained not only LPs, but also CDs, DVDs, and cassettes, right? So first and foremost, you've got a little replica of the box, which is the CDs and DVDs. So you've got the same two LPs that I talked to. You've got them in CD form. So you've got the original, and then you've got the remix, the Brendan O'Brien remix. You have also got Pearl Jam Unplugged DVD. This is the only official release of the DVD, I believe. It finally did come out on vinyl from an audio standpoint years later, but as far as the DVD is concerned, I don't think they've ever put it out. So if you want to get it on DVD, I think you had to get in this box set. Don't think it's ever been released standalone. So that's pretty cool. If you're into DVDs, you can obviously look up Unplugged on streaming, YouTube, I'm assuming. But if you want it for your own, you want it the highest quality possible, that's it. Now, the other thing, media-wise, is this cassette. This is really cool. This is known as the Mama Son cassette. If you are a huge Pearl Jam fan, you're probably very familiar, but I'm going to pretend you're not. What this is a replica of the initial demo cassette that marked the formation of the band. Stone Gossard and Jeff Ament wrote these songs, instrumental songs, and they were using them to shop for a singer. They sent this is obviously a replica. They sent the original cassette that they had of those instrumental demos to a number of people, and one of the people that got it was Jack Irons, which at the time was the drummer of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, who went on to actually join Pearl Jam during Yield and No Code. I digress. This contains a number of tracks. Alive, Once, and Footsteps, I believe, are the 3 songs. It's not even marked on here. The cool thing about it is they actually replicated, so you can see it says for Stone and Jeff. It's really cool. A Friend in California, because that's what Eddie wrote on the tape when he sent it back. So Eddie got the instrumentals and he recorded his vocal demos on top of their instrumentals as his audition, more or less, and then he sent it back up to Seattle, and that was the first that they had ever heard Eddie's voice, and that's essentially what got him in the band. So it's an amazing story that Jack Irons was the one who delivered the cassette to Eddie, because he didn't know Stone and Jeff, and then in the end, Jack ended up being a part of the Pearl Jam family. So this is just really cool to have, and a replica. And if you watch the Pearl Jam film PJ-20, directed by Cameron Crowe, there's a point in that film where Cameron actually has the legitimate cassette, the one, and he hands it back to Eddie, and Eddie can't believe that he's actually holding it, and it's got Eddie's phone number on it at the time. Pretty funny, but that's a really cool thing. All right, so let me show you the inside of this box. It's cool because the way they did this box, everything fits perfectly. So you can see there's kind of inset for the set and cassette and CD, and then you've got all of the extras, right? First and foremost, you've got a replica notebook. Eddie Vedder is notorious for scratching all of his lyrics, notes, thoughts into these notebooks. In fact, again, referencing Pearl Jam 20 film, you can go and he's got just volumes of these from all the different tours and things he's done over the years. So they all looked very similar to this. He always used this similar kind of style and notebook, and they kind of replicated, you know, for example, stickers that would be on. And this is just memorabilia. So this goes through, it's got, you know, replicas of Polaroid photos, backstage passes, set list, all kinds of cool stuff, plenty of photography. So again, if you're a super fan of Pearl Jam or you're a super fan of the album 10, this is just a must own in my opinion. This is really cool. It's got just all kinds of stuff from the band's history. In that era specifically, there's a few pages about the Singles documentary, speaking of Cameron Crowe. So super fun. I love looking through this stuff. Again, it's all about kind of a time and place when 10 came out. Then you've got this nice little kind of translucent envelope, which contains a variety of really cool elements. We will unpack it. First and foremost, I'll pull these out and you can see it's got the it's got these kind of lithograph cards. This is of the 10 silhouette, and this gives you an overview of what's inside the box set in regards to credits. So that's really nice. Then you've got a bunch of photography. So you've got what are negatives from probably photos by Jeff Ament. So these are in the studio when they're actually writing and recording the album, which are really cool. Film negatives, and then you've got a number of the cards, and this is where all the credits are. So the front features band members, photography, which is really nice, and then on the back, here's where all the credits are. So this is the 10 redo or the remix that I was talking about. So you can catch some notes on this. Mastered by Bob Ludwig, you know, remixed by Brendan O'Brien. So there's credits on that. Here's the original 10 credits with all the thank yous in the track list. Here's the Drop in the Park notes with credits there. And then you've got MTV Unplugged notes that go along with the DVD. And then bonus tracks, which are contained throughout. So really cool details on the credits. That's really nice. And no box set would be complete without a replica poster. So this looks like a 6-panel fold out of the revised cover on the bays, which is really nice. Really nice. And you've got the debut album 10 featuring Alive in stores August 27th on Epic Records and Tapes. Love that. Really cool to have the replica poster. So what else is included? Last but not least, we've still got some goodies in here, and these are kind of cool. Like I mentioned, this has a lot of pieces, which is one of the reasons why I chose it, because I didn't want to choose box sets where I just kind of flipped through and it was like 2 or 3 records. So these are kind of, like I mentioned, the super deluxe. So what do we have here? We have got a replica Drop in the Park ticket, Rock the Vote on the back. We have got a Mookie Blaylock NBA Hoops rookie card. If you don't know, Mookie Blaylock is the original name of the band Pearl Jam, and that is the reason why the album is called 10, because he was the number 10. He was one of their favorite players, and then when they decided to actually sign with Epic, they had to find a real name because they couldn't use a person's name. I don't think he would have liked that too much. We have got a replica backstage pass. Same here, replica. This is the peel-off sticker, which would be used for VIP. And then you've got replica postcards. You've got the Alive postcard. You've got, I think this was maybe Even Flow. And then you've got the Baby with Guns on the, which I think they used a lot for Jeremy. Last but not least, you've got, this is the actual little card that tells you everything that's in here. So 10 LP, 10 CD, then you got the redo LP and CD, the unplugged DVD, Drop in the Park, liner note prints, poster, the the slipcase, CD slipcase, postcards, and composition book. So there you go. That is the 10 Super Deluxe box set. I've got a lot to clean up now. I'll get to do that, and we'll come back to the number 3 I'm going to show you here momentarily. All right, I mentioned Cameron Crowe before, so that's the perfect segue to get into one of my favorite box sets, which is the Almost Famous Deluxe version. This came out in 2021. It's a 6 LP, super deluxe, 180 gram vinyl, nearly 3.5 hours of music, 5 unreleased recordings, collectible bonus items. We will walk through it all. This is not only one of my favorite music films, it's one of my favorite films of all time. In fact, if you ask me my favorite films of all time, I would probably say Almost Famous, Shawshank Redemption, which is absolute favorite of mine, and then Empire Strikes Back, because I'm a huge Star Wars nerd from back in the day. But I digress. Almost Famous. This is a sweet box set. I'm going to go through it in detail, as you would imagine. It's got a lot to go through. Not quite as much as the Pearl Jam 10 box set, but this is cool. It's got the kind of alternate cover, and then it's got the entire track list on the back. The track list is a combination of songs that were featured in the film, obviously, and then it's got a bunch from the band Sweetwater, which was the band who was actually in the film, who wasn't a real band, but Mike McCready from Pearl Jam wrote a lot of that music. So really, really cool. I love the back shot of Russell there on the bus. So Almost Famous, again, directed by Cameron Crowe. Super autobiographical. Obviously, they took some liberties, but it's based on his experience as a child becoming a journalist, which is just amazing. Let's go through the records first. So we got LP 1 and 2. All of them feature unique artwork from the film. They are all gatefold, which is really, really nice. This features, let's see, we've got The Who, we've got Iggy and the Stooges, Todd Rundgren, Joni Mitchell, the Beach Boys, Rod Stewart. So great track list, and love the mock family photo on the back. So that's really cool. That's LP 1. LP L1 and 2, LP 3 and 4, featuring Penny Lane. And again, gatefold with more photography of all of the Band-Aids. And then this one's got more, so this is dedicated to that part of the movie. Got Little Feat, Allman Brothers, The Guess Who, Skinner, Zeppelin, I mentioned Stillwater, you got Neil Young and Crazy Horse, Fleetwood Mac. This is a who's who of classic rock, which is part of the reason why I love the film, because I'm a huge classic rock fan from the 60s and 70s. So that's 3 and 4. And then this one's really fun. 5 and 6, obviously this is a take on the Allman Brothers live at Phil Maurice. So if I get the Allman Brothers out here, I'm going to go off camera, which is totally unscripted, but that's okay. So if I'm going to pull the Allman Brothers live at Fillmore East here, you can see how they paid homage to one of the most classic live albums of all time, with the cover and the road cases with the stencils, which is just so fun. I love Cameron Crowe because of those details. That's what makes this film so incredible, because he based all of this, again, on real experiences, and he took it all the way down to this box set. So now you've got shots of the band in here, and this one, this has got Bowie, Nancy Wilson, Jimmy, more Zeppelin, obviously Stevie Wonder, Neil Young, Elton John. So again, who's who of classic rock coming at you. Now, as far as extras are concerned, this is really cool. This is like a mock journal, if you will, of what the young Cameron Crowe would have used from the movie. It's got scribblings all over of band logos and band names, which is really cool, which is exactly what I did in high school, so holds true. Then you've got a replica Rolling Stone magazine. Now, if you know the movie, you know it was all about the young Cameron Crowe going on tour with Stillwater and writing a review of the band that ended up being their cover story for Rolling Stone. But what you didn't get in the movies, you didn't get his actual story. You never read it. Well, if you want to read it, he wrote it and he put it in here. So it's really cool to be able to read that actual piece. And then you got, just again, it almost looks like a new school Trapper Keeper. You've got mock tickets from the concerts that he attended. So here's Sabbath with Stillwater opening. This is from May 17th, 1973 at the San Diego Sports Arena. And then you've got the Stillwater headlining show, which is featured in the movie Cleveland Music Hall, May 6th, 73. So those are fun. And I just like the fact that from a packaging standpoint, all of this stuff is nicely tucked away. You've got, this is just an advertisement for the DVD and Blu-ray there. And then let's see what else we've got in the book. More kind of sketches. And then you've got a ton of history, behind the scenes photographs, and a ton of history. So you've got a write-up or forward by Cameron Crowe, write-up by Nancy Wilson. Let's see, it goes through Neil Preston. Who else do we have here? Trying to see stuff from directors, storyboard artists, about how the film came about. Not only video, but also audio. So again, just really cool behind the scenes. If you're a big fan of the movie, you're gonna love this box set. There's no doubt about that. Let's see, last but not least in here, I think we've got, like I said, the poster. So they took the Allman Brothers cover, actually blew that up. So very, very cool. As I mentioned, huge fan of the movie. I'm a huge fan of just about everything Cameron Crowe does, all his music stuff. Like I mentioned PJ20, I mentioned singles, all that stuff. So absolutely love this one. It's pretty comprehensive and takes a deep dive into, in my opinion, one of the best music films ever made. All right, last but certainly not least is one of my favorite musicians of all time, and that is the late, great Chris Cornell. This is the Super Deluxe self-titled box set. Came out 2019, a couple years after his death. All of the artwork is custom to this box set. There was a standard LP version of this as well. I also own that. That is pretty rare these days. Been out of print for a while, but the artwork is done by Jeff Ament from Pearl Jam and his brother Barry Ament, who do a lot of graphic design for everyone in the Pearl Jam and kind of Soundgarden camp. So love the artwork. This is a replica of Chris's signature, which is really cool. So very nice box. This is super heavy deluxe box, similar to the Dead and that U2 box set. This is 7 LPs, each of them very unique and very cool. I will show you them all. Let's talk about the LPs first. The cool thing about this is it's a true anthology or a retrospective of his entire career. So you've got stuff from Soundgarden, obviously, Temple of the Dog, Audio Slave, his solo work. You've got live, outtakes, unreleased material across the board. So it's a really good cross-section of, again, his entire career. I've kept all of these in shrink because I just want to protect them as much as possible. This is LP1, and you've got everything. This is Soundgarden, Temple of the Dog. So again, studio tracks on a lot of these. But the cool thing is that each one of them features unique artwork and has a matching unique splatter vinyl. So this one is the white and the red, which is very nice. Then you've got this one, which features LP2. This has got Seasons from the single soundtrack, Black Hole Sun, Spoon Man, all the way through solo tracks like Sun Shower, which were amazing, Sweet Euphoria. So some of the more kind of somber tracks that he wrote. And this one is on kind of an orange and yellow, white opaque splatter. That's really cool. This is getting into more of the visual from his Audio Slave days, which is pretty much what's featured here, along with his cover of Billie Jean, You Know My Name, which was a James Bond soundtrack song, and this one's on kind of a blue splatter. I just love the way they packaged all of these. You can see everything thematically from a visual perspective is very consistent. Here's an acoustic vibe. This is on kind of an orange and brown splatter. This has got, let's see, Ave Maria, which is really cool. It's got The Promise, Whole Lot of Love, Santana with Chris Cornell, just stuff you can't find anywhere else. Live acoustic versions of Call Me a Dog, John Lennon's Imagine. So again, stuff that is not released on any other LP or any format other than maybe digitally. This is the green LP5. This has got stuff from King Animal, as well as, again, more solo work. Stay With Me Baby, Till the Sun Comes Around, Our Time in the Universe. So lots of kind of solo. This is the green, really cool. I just love how they matched everything. When you spend this much money on a box set, I mean, these things are a couple $100. You expect this amount of quality and attention to detail. I think that's the key. This is LP6. This has got the When Bad Does Good, which is one of his final singles. Bunch of live Soundgarden stuff. Nothing to Say, Mind Riot, Jesus Christ Pose, Show Me How to Live, Audio Slave Live. That's really cool. All right, and then last but not least, you got LP7. This has got Nothing Compares to You, his cover of Prince's song. One, Reach Down, Stargazer, Redemption Song. Really, really cool. So can't speak highly enough about those records. They all sound fantastic. The mix and mastering on them is great. And again, I just think the effort that went into the attention and detail to kind of cull this track list together is fantastic. All right. We've got a package of goodies, which feature the embossed signature. We also have a photography book. So very nicely done hardbound book. And kind of a wound. This has got CD versions of, I believe, all of the tracks. So if you're into the CDs, it's got that as well. And then you've got classic artwork and write-ups. I want to say that the write-ups are from a bunch of friends and former musicians. I'm trying to get through, but tons. Yeah, so this is the initial write-up here, kind of the forward, is all from Kim Thale. And then you've got a bunch of photographs from the early days, which are really cool. There's them in the rehearsal room laying on the ground. Live shots from the early days. That looks probably from a Lollapalooza show in '92. And then you've got write-ups from Matt Cameron. Let's see who else in here. I'll just flip through a couple. There's the rest of the CDs in the back. Got all the credits. There they are as Temple of the Dog on the last tour, which I was lucky enough to see in San Francisco a couple nights. Very thankful for that. Last time I saw Chris live was on that Temple of the Dog tour. Let's see, I'm looking for the additional write-ups. I think that may be it. No, there was one from, I think from Matt Cameron. No, from Mike McCready. Sorry, we already saw the Matt Cameron one. So you get the idea. Tons of unique photography and write-ups from friends and bandmates, so really awesome. All right, so then you've got this fold-out package here, which contains a bunch of extra goodies, which, again, you would expect in a super deluxe box set. You have got a screen wipe, logo screen wipe, which I guess is be good, or a cleaner for records would be nice. You could wipe stuff off. You've got a unique slip mat featuring his logo, and then you've got a bunch of really nicely done graphic prints. So you've got Chris in a variety of different eras, which is cool. Sorry, let me through. I would actually love to frame these one day. They're so beautiful. Really well done. All his different eras of hairstyles and styles in general. And then you've got some, I'm not sure what you would call these. I guess they're like lithograph prints of some sort. Which are, again, encompassing drawings he did or lyrics. So, and it's hard to kind of see them, but they're all, they've all got images in the background, kind of translucent images. So just really cool. As a former graphic designer, really appreciative of all the effort that goes into stuff like that. Here's a couple more. And then last but not least, like I said, there's always a poster, or at least there should be. This poster, I'm going to attempt to fold out, but it is massive. Let me make sure I got it the right way here. And this is that iconic image from the early kind of, I want to say it's from the Louder Than Love days. Once I get this unfolded, see if I can, let's see, this is a 3 panel by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to do my best. If you can get some perspective on how large that is. One day, maybe I'll get a frame this thing. Would be amazing. So you're not going to get a bigger poster than that, folks. I don't care what box set you're in. This is like reminiscent of the old school Subway posters that they used to do for promotional albums. So that's the Cornell box set. I'm going to get packing this one all back up. I actually do have a bonus box set. I was only do 5. I've got one that's kind of a bonus. I'm going to go through it next, and then we'll wrap this up. My goal was to pick out 5 box sets. It wasn't easy. I've got over 50. And I just couldn't leave this one out, but it doesn't have as much to it as some of the others I just went through, but I still had to kind of include it as honorable mention because it really is one of my favorites and one of the, I think, rarer box sets in my collection. This is the band Failure, their box set 92 through 96, pretty short-lived artist. If you're not familiar with Failure, they were kind of an underground band. They have actually gained more in popularity in recent years than they did when they were actually around during this era. They only put out a couple albums, as you can expect. 92 through 96 is not a big period of time. If you're not familiar with the band, they are one of those that were very influential on a band like Tool. And that's an incredible thing to say for a band that you've probably never heard of. In fact, there's a quote. I was looking through the booklet here, and the quote is from Maynard. "The first time I was able to sit and digest a Failure recording, it altered the way I wrote and responded to the melodies and rhythms." It's pretty incredible. This is a booklet that contains quotes from just about everyone in the kind of alternative metal scene. You've got Mastodon, Deftones, you've got more from Maynard, bands like Interpol. So just a great cross-section of musicians. This is one of those artists where you talk about Failure and they were a band's band. So a lot of musicians were big fans of the band. And again, over time, they've gained in popularity. But back in 92 through 96, they were relatively unknown. They were on the side stage of one of the very first Lollapaloozas because they really did have a lot of buzz within the industry, but it never crossed over to mainstream popularity. This is the box set of their core albums, which was Comfort, Magnified, and the epic Fantastic Planet. And then you've got Outtakes and Oddities, which is only in this box set, which is really cool. So definitely worth checking out if you're not familiar with Failure. Their first two records, there's a bit of, I mean, they're very experimental. I would hearken it back to like early kind of stoner rock-ish. If you go back before Queens of the Stone Age and you go into like Caius, they're kind of like, you know, what Caius was to Queen's, Failure was to a lot of other alternative rock bands. So these first two records are really raw. They are led by Ken Andrews, who is an amazing, not only musician, but also an amazing producer in his own right. He's produced a lot of stuff. This is the crown jewel. If you're going to go listen to Failure, check them out. The only semi-hit they ever had was a song called Stuck on You. YouTube it. You can look at the video. It's a really great track. But this is full of great songs, really atmospheric musicianship across the board. I can't speak highly enough about Fantastic Planet. It is an absolute must own in my opinion. Unfortunately, it's very hard to own because it has never been widely repressed. So if you can get a copy of it for less than, you know, a couple $100, you're kind of lucky, but definitely worth checking out regardless. Stream it, check it out. And then you've got the Outtakes and Oddities, which is a really cool set. So this features, looks like about 10 tracks that were never included across these albums. So just a special album because you can't get it anywhere else but in this box set. So that was a kind of bonus box set. Again, I didn't include that just because there's not much to it. There's not any extras and all that other than the booklet, but love box sets. I love collecting them. Like I mentioned, they're bulky and expensive, so I try and be really particular about what I do grab. But I'd love to hear some of your box sets that you love. There are some extravagant ones, stuff that's been on my list for years that's probably out of my price range at this point. But I still love to collect them, and I try to make a point to listen to them somewhat often because they do get overlooked because I usually go to the main wall behind me versus my box set shelf, which is off to the side here. So thanks as always for watching. Really appreciate the support, and I hope you will stick around and check out some more videos on the channel. We will see you again next time on Talking About Records.